I hope one day you will be able to travel to Israel, as Lynn and I were privileged to do so about 10, 12 years ago. We landed in Tel Aviv and then went north first to Mount Carmel. Then we went to Tiberias, where we spent, I think, 2 nights there, located on the Sea of Galilee. We spent 2 nights and 3 days touring the Galilee area to include Capernaum, a city which is a little area which has been highly excavated out, and you see these buildings and rooms and houses that have been dug out. Then we traveled south along the Jordan River. We stayed for 2 days in a hotel on the Dead Sea. From there, we saw Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, and we took the cable car up the incredible mountain, the incredible fortress at Masada. Then we went through the Judean wilderness, the desert, to Jerusalem, spent 4 more days in Jerusalem, and we were able to enter Bethlehem and see the Church of the Nativity. One of the many highlights for us was a visit to Nazareth, which is southwest of Tiberias and the Sea of Galilee. Nazareth is this insignificant village that's southwest of the Sea of Galilee. It's close to a major city called Sepphoris, and even though Sepphoris is not mentioned in the New Testament, it is extremely probable that Jesus himself had spent time in Sepphoris. Nazareth was home to fewer than 400 people, and almost all of them were farmers. The homes that have been excavated there are like this. A typical house in Nazareth would have 2 rooms, would have a courtyard where a cistern collected rainwater. That's probably the kind of very modest home that Jesus and his family would have owned. Again, this is a rural agricultural area, and we see that influence in the parables of Jesus, many of which draw upon agricultural events used as parables and metaphors to talk about the message of Jesus. And what did he do growing up? Well, the strong probability is that Jesus worked with Joseph in the family business, which was the building trade. Now, if you have your Bible available, open it up to Mark chapter 6, verse 3. A very interesting verse in the life of Jesus. This is where Jesus is in his hometown, and people are asking, isn't this the carpenter? Well, the Greek word there for carpenter is tekton, Tekton. Isn't this the tekton? But tekton means more than a carpenter. Craig Detweiler in his research on this says tekton could be a worker in wood, could be a joiner, could be a builder, could be a ship's carpenter, could be a craftsman. A tekton is like an artisan, and but again, we get the word technology from that, the development of artifacts that improve human ability. Jesus was a tekton, a techie. You could translate Mark chapter 6, verse 3 like this: is this not the son of the artisan? The son of the artisan with a capital A, the maker of all things. And it's Detweiler says that it's more likely to think of Jesus as working with stones and rocks than even with wood. So Jesus may have been, and Joseph may have been like masons more than carpenters. This word tekton allows for that interpretation. One more thing. Eventually, Jesus walks with his little entourage of disciples from Galilee south to Jerusalem. He's walking from this tiny little village to Jerusalem, which for many was seen as the center of the world because that's where all the pressure was concentrated. N.T. Wright says this: Jerusalem, that's where the fault lines all came together, where the tectonic plates ground relentlessly into one another, as indeed they still do. And it's to Jerusalem that we have to go to understand Jesus of Nazareth. That's where the real perfect storm took place. That's where all the dark forces converged one spring day in most likely the year AD 30. So Jesus was a Galilean, a Nazareth, and a techie in the sense of techne, technology, an artisan, who at the age of 30 began his ministry in northern Israel around the Sea of Galilee. And eventually he made his way to Jerusalem, a world center of religious activity which was focused on the temple.